Chosen one, listen carefully. What you are feeling is not random, not a simple impulse, not just desire. It is a trap, silent, subtle, and relentless, designed to pull you away from everything you were created to be. That fire burning inside of you, that craving that sometimes feels impossible to control, is not ordinary. It has spiritual roots. It is not here by chance. It is here because you are chosen. From the outside, people may think it's just human weakness, something natural, nothing more. But deep down, you already know the truth. That struggle inside you, the one that no one else sees, the one that keeps returning stronger each time you think you've overcome it. That is not weakness. It is proof. Proof that you carry something too powerful, too sacred, too luminous for the world of shadows to leave untouched. And that is why you have been targeted. The enemy has studied you. He knows that if he can capture this one area of your life, he can dim your light, scatter your focus, and drain your strength. That is why temptation feels so personal, so intense, so unrelenting. It is not because you are dirty or unworthy. It is because you are dangerous to the darkness. How many times have you felt the weight of guilt after falling? How many times have you wondered why the emptiness that follows is so much heavier than the brief moment of pleasure? That is the evidence of the trap. Pleasure is the bait. Emptiness is the cage. And every time you feel that cycle, it is the universe shouting at you. You are not like the others. You are chosen, and chosen ones are hunted. But here is the good news. What the enemy intended for your destruction can become the very key to your awakening. The same desire that tries to enslave you can become your greatest source of strength. What was meant to scatter you can be transmuted into power, vision, and authority. You do not need to suppress this energy, and you certainly do not need to surrender to it. You were born to master it, to channel it, to turn it into fire that illuminates your path instead of fire that consumes you. So stay with me until the end of this message, because what you are about to hear could save your destiny. If you walk away now, you may never know the truth that has been hidden from you since the beginning of your journey. But if you remain, if you listen with your heart open, you will discover that the very struggle you hate is the sign that you were chosen for something far greater than you imagined. This is your hidden warning. Sexual temptation is not random. It is designed. It is intentional. And if you are feeling it, it is because heaven has marked you. Your greatest battle is not against flesh. It is against forces that know the weight of your calling. But you were never meant to fight alone. And in the next moments, you will learn how to turn your greatest struggle into your greatest victory. Chosen one. The first truth you must understand is this: desire is not just physical. It is not simply hormones, not just instinct, not a passing urge. What burns inside of you is far deeper than the body. Desire is energy. It is spiritual voltage. And for the chosen, this current flows more intensely than for anyone else, because within you lives a greater light, a light the world of shadows cannot afford to ignore. This is why your struggle has never been ordinary. While others can indulge and move on as if nothing happened, you cannot. While others seem to live without the same torment, without the same intensity, you feel everything with a depth that leaves you restless. This is not weakness, it is design. You were created to carry a spiritual charge so powerful that even your body vibrates with it. The enemy knows this. He studies you. He watches the places where you are most vulnerable. And he understands something that many chosen ones never realize. If this energy is mastered, it can build, heal, and transform nations. But if it is wasted, it can drain you, distract you, and even destroy the mission you were sent to fulfill. That is why the attacks are so targeted, so relentless, so personal. Look closely at your own life. How many times did these desires surface? Not when you were idle, but when you were about to step into something greater. How often did temptation arrive just as you were drawing closer to God, just as your clarity was increasing, just as doors of opportunity were beginning to open? That is not coincidence. It is strategy. The enemy waits for the moments when your light threatens to shine brighter, and then he strikes, trying to scatter your focus, trying to leak your strength drop by drop. But here is the hidden truth. This desire you carry is not meant to shame you. It is meant to shape you. It is the raw, untamed energy of creation itself, placed inside of you so that you could lead, build, write, speak, heal, awaken. The intensity of your temptation is the measure of the power you carry, and the very fire that threatens to consume you is the fire that, once mastered, will fuel your destiny. This is why you cannot see yourself as ordinary. Ordinary people do not face extraordinary battles. Ordinary lives are not marked by extraordinary resistance. The fact that your struggle is so heavy is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence of calling. It means your energy is too valuable to be wasted on fleeting moments of pleasure. It was meant to be guarded, redirected, and transmuted into something eternal. So, chosen one, let this sink deeply into your heart. Your desire is not your enemy. It is your compass. It is the signal that you were designed for more. If it feels overwhelming, it is because you were created to hold more than most can imagine. Do not let the shadows convince you that this intensity is proof of failure. It is proof of destiny. And when you finally understand this, when you stop seeing desire as a curse and begin to see it as sacred fuel, everything shifts. Shame loses its grip. Confusion loses its power. And what once felt like fire, meant to destroy you, becomes the fire that lights your path. Chosen one, there is something you must never forget. The forces that oppose you are not blind. They know exactly who you are. They see the light you carry, the fire that burns in your spirit, and the weight of the mission written into your destiny. And because of that, they study you. They observe you more closely than you imagine. They are not wasting their efforts on the indifferent, the careless, or the ordinary. No, their eyes are fixed on you, the one marked, the one dangerous to their kingdom. And this is why temptation comes in such a precise form. It is not random. It is not accidental. The very things that lure you, the exact images, thoughts, or situations that stir your desire, are not coincidence. They have been designed, targeted, crafted to reach the weakest part of your armor. The enemy knows that while you may be strong in faith, bold in prayer, and resilient in battle, there is one doorway he has used since the beginning of time: the doorway of desire. Think of it. In the garden, it was desire that opened the door. Not a weapon, not a storm, not a war, but the lure of what looked pleasing, of what promised satisfaction. From the very start, the strategy has not changed. Why? Because it works. Because desire is powerful, and when it is not mastered, it can be manipulated. But here is the detail that many chosen ones miss. The enemy would not bother to tempt you so relentlessly if you did not carry something worth stealing. He would not waste his time orchestrating distractions, illusions, and traps if you were insignificant. The very intensity of your attacks is the evidence of your importance. You are not being tempted because you are weak. You are being tempted because you are strong, because your light threatens the darkness. Notice the timing. The moments when the pull is strongest are often the very moments when your spiritual sensitivity is rising. Just before a breakthrough, just after a prayer that shook the heavens, just as you begin to step deeper into purpose. That is when the whispers come, when the distractions appear, when the cravings ignite. This is no accident. It is a strategy designed to derail you before you ascend. Chosen one, let this sink in. Your weakness is not just yours. It is known. It has been targeted. And every temptation you face is aimed with the intention of draining your energy, blinding your vision, and keeping you bound to cycles that rob you of destiny. But here is the truth the enemy cannot erase. Awareness is the first step to freedom. When you recognize that these attacks are not coincidences, but strategies, you stop blaming yourself and start discerning the plan. You begin to see the pattern. You realize that every temptation is not just about pleasure, it is about purpose. And once you see it, the power of the trap begins to break. So stand firm. Do not be surprised by the battle you face. Do not believe the lie that you are cursed or broken because your struggle feels heavy. Instead, understand this. The weight of your temptation is the measure of your calling. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are chosen. Chosen one. Let's speak plainly. Desire itself is not the enemy, but when it is left unguarded, when it is pursued without discernment, it becomes the perfect snare. The enemy does not need to chain your hands or silence your voice if he can, keep you bound through your own cravings. All he has to do is offer the bait of momentary pleasure and wait for you to step willingly into the cage. You know this pattern already. The pull comes suddenly, the temptation whispers louder than your convictions, and for a moment it feels easier to surrender. In that instant, the fire inside demands release, promising satisfaction. But once the moment passes, what remains? Emptiness, guilt, a heaviness that lingers long after the fleeting pleasure fades. That hollow feeling is not random. It is the evidence that you have touched something meant to drain, not to fill. The trap works because it steals the most precious thing you carry, your energy. Every time you give in, something inside you feels weaker, like a lamp losing oil, like a warrior walking into battle with an empty shield. You may still stand, but you stand drained. And drained soldiers cannot fight. That is the enemy's plan, not just to tempt you, but to deplete you. Think of how much time is lost in recovery, how many days, weeks, even months you've spent trying to regain clarity after falling into the same cycle. Think of the opportunities missed, the prayers that felt heavy, the dreams that seemed harder to believe. Every time you step into the trap, your destiny is delayed. The plan of heaven for your life is not erased, but it is slowed. And the enemy counts on that delay, hoping you will waste enough years circling the same pit until your mission feels unreachable. But here is the awakening. If you can recognize the trap, you can break it. If you can see the cycle for what it truly is, a weapon designed to steal your destiny, then you can stop mistaking guilt for truth. You can stand up, guard your fire, and refuse to be deceived again. And I want to ask you something right now. Have you ever felt that emptiness after giving in? Have you ever realized how quickly the joy fades and how heavy the silence becomes? If these words are speaking to you, I invite you to do something simple but powerful. Type in the comments, "I refuse the trap." By writing it, you are not just engaging, you are declaring to yourself and to heaven that your destiny is worth more than a moment of emptiness. Remember this, chosen one. What feels like harmless desire can become a prison. But once you see it for what it truly is, you no longer walk as a victim of the cycle. You walk as someone who knows the difference between bait and bread, between a chain and a crown. And in that awareness, the power of the trap begins to shatter. Chosen one, the greatest deception you have faced is the belief that your desire is a curse. For years, perhaps even since your youth, you may have begged for it to disappear. You may have prayed for it to be removed, and you may have even thought that its persistence meant you were unworthy of your calling. But what if I told you that, This fire within you was never designed to vanish. What if the intensity you feel is not a flaw, but a hidden key? The secret is this: you were never meant to suppress desire. You were meant to transmute it. Transmutation is not a word you often hear, yet it is one of the deepest spiritual mysteries. To transmute means to take the raw, unrefined energy inside of you and elevate it, refine it, and transform it into something higher. Just as the alchemist turns lead into gold, you are called to turn desire into destiny. The very current that tries to pull you downward can be redirected upward, fueling creation, clarity, and communion with God. Think of fire. Left uncontrolled, it burns homes to ash. But placed in a furnace, it forges iron into unbreakable steel. The difference is not the fire itself, but the way it is directed. In the same way, your desire is not evil. It is neutral energy, sacred power, waiting for guidance. When wasted, it becomes destruction. When mastered, it becomes construction. It can tear down, or it can build, enslave, or liberate. The choice has always been yours. This is why suppression never works. How many times have you tried to bury your desire, only for it to return louder, fiercer, more demanding? Suppression breeds shame, and shame feeds the trap. Heaven never asked you to kill your desire. Heaven calls you to elevate it, to lift it from the realm of flesh to the realm of spirit, to turn what once tempted you into the very force that empowers you. And here lies the path of mastery: discipline. Discipline is not a cold word of punishment. It is the sacred art of holding fire without being burned. It is the strength to stand in the middle of the storm and direct the winds instead of being carried away by them. Discipline means that when energy rises in you, you recognize it not as an enemy, but as a signal. You pause, you breathe, you redirect. You pour it into prayer, into creativity, into purpose. You use it to fuel your vision, your leadership, your calling. Imagine this with me. Imagine that every surge of desire became a wave of clarity in your mind. Imagine that the same energy that once pushed you toward temptation became the fuel that inspired your writing, your art, your words, your service, your prayers. Imagine never feeling drained again, because nothing is wasted. Every drop of energy is converted into light. This is not imagination. This is transmutation. This is the destiny of the chosen ones who refuse to squander what heaven placed inside of them. Look at the lives of the great ones before you and prophets, mystics, leaders of faith. Do you think they lived without fire? No. They lived with more fire than most could bear. But instead of collapsing under its weight, they learned the secret of transmutation. They transformed passion into prophecy, longing into leadership, fire into focus. That is why their prayers shook the heavens, why their words carried eternal weight, why their very presence changed atmospheres. They discovered that the battle was never about extinguishing desire, but about elevating it. And you, chosen one, are called to do the same. Every time you feel that current rise within you, you now have a choice. Let it scatter you into emptiness, or let it lift you into clarity. Let it drain you, or let it refine you. Let it become your prison, or let it become your crown. Hear this. Clearly, the strength of your temptation is the measure of your capacity. The greater the fire, the greater the destiny. The enemy attacks this area so violently because he fears what will happen the moment you stop wasting your energy and start directing it. He fears the authority you will walk in, the clarity you will carry, the light that will radiate from you once your energy is transmuted into its true purpose. So remember this secret. Your desire is not your downfall. It is your raw material. Every surge, every pull, every wave of fire inside you is potential waiting for direction. And when you master the art of transmutation, you will rise into a level of focus, strength, and authority that no chain of temptation can ever touch again. Chosen. 1. Whoever masters desire masters their mission, and you were never called to be mastered by anything less than heaven itself. Chosen 1. The path of the strong has always been narrow. It has never been crowded, never been popular, and never been easy. It is not paved with comfort, nor lit by the approval of others. Instead, it winds through valleys of silence, mountains of temptation, and deserts of waiting. Yet those who endure this path emerge carrying something unshakable, a strength not forged by the applause of the world, but by the fire of resistance. Strength, as heaven defines it, is not the absence of struggle. It is the courage to stand in the midst of it. It is the ability to feel the full weight of desire pulling at your flesh, whispering in your mind, burning in your body, and still say no. That no is not just a refusal, it is a sword. Every time you resist, you cut chains that would have bound your lineage for generations. Every act of discipline is a declaration to the unseen realm. I belong to purpose, not to the trap. The strong are not those who never fall. The strong are those who rise again, who refuse to let shame become their identity, who learn from every stumble and turn it into a stepping stone. Their scars do not disqualify them, they validate them. Every battle survived becomes proof that their strength is real, and each time they overcome, their authority deepens. But here is the mystery. Strength is not only about endurance, it is about transformation. Every victory refines you. Every refusal sharpens your discernment. Every decision to guard your fire makes your spirit clearer, your vision stronger, your presence more radiant. People may not understand what changed in you, but they will feel it. They will sense an authority in your words, a weight in your presence, a light in your eyes. That is the mark of the strong. And what of those who do not resist? Their stories are cycles, patterns of giving in, feeling empty, starting again, only to stumble in the same place. They walk in circles while time slips away. But those who resist step off the cycle and onto the upward path. Resistance becomes elevation. What once seemed like denial becomes empowerment. What once felt like sacrifice becomes victory. The strong live with a paradox that the world cannot comprehend. Their greatest struggle becomes their greatest strength. While others are slaves to their cravings, they stand as masters of their own fire. While others are drained, they are overflowing. While others are scattered, they are focused. The very temptation that sought to chain them becomes the proof of their freedom. Do you see it now? Temptation is not evidence that you are cursed. It is evidence that you are carrying something too powerful to be ignored. The chosen who embrace this truth no longer see themselves as victims of constant attack. They see themselves as warriors entrusted with sacred fire. They realize that the battle is not a punishment, but a promotion. And here is the reward. Those who walk the path of the strong unlock divine protection. Heaven itself shields them. Angels guard their steps. Their prayers pierce through the heavens because their lives carry weight. When they speak, chains break. When they enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. Not because they are louder, but because they are aligned. Their authority comes not from striving, but from standing. Standing firm when others fell. Standing clear when others were clouded. Standing faithful when others surrendered. Chosen one, the path of the strong is open before you. It is narrow, yes, and lonely at times, but it is also holy. It is the road that leads to clarity, to authority, to destiny fulfilled. Do not envy the crowds who indulge without restraint. Their path is wide, but it leads to emptiness. Yours is steep, but it leads to glory. And though few will walk it, those who do will carry crowns unseen by men, but recognized in heaven. So let this truth anchor you. Every time you resist, you rise. Every time you choose discipline, you climb higher. Every time you guard your fire, you take another step on the path of the strong. And the farther you walk it, the more undeniable your destiny becomes. Chosen one, let us come to the heart of the matter. The destiny you carry is not fragile, uncertain, or temporary. It was sealed before your first breath. It was written in eternity, long before time touched your body, long before struggle marked your soul. You are not an accident. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not defined by the mistakes you regret. You are the living fulfillment of a plan that the Creator Himself placed into motion. And nothing, not temptation, not shame, not delay, has the power to erase that seal. But here is what you must understand. Though your destiny is sealed, your participation is essential. The story is written, yes, but you are the one who must choose to step into its pages. You are the one who must align your steps with what heaven has already declared. And this is why temptation has been your greatest battlefield, because it is the one weapon that can keep you distracted long enough to delay what was always meant to be yours. Look at the lives around you. You will see two kinds of chosen ones. Some are marked, but remain bound, repeating the same cycles of indulgence, shame, and regret. Their energy leaks away drop by drop. Their days blur into years. Their destiny remains written in heaven, but unmanifested on earth. They are chosen, but they never rise. Their prison is not lack of calling, but lack of mastery. Then there are the others. The ones who refuse to be defined by weakness. The ones who wrestle with fire and emerge refined. The ones who take every surge of desire, every wave of temptation, and redirect it into prayer, into purpose, into discipline. They are not spared from the storm, they are trained by it. And because they endure, because they choose discipline over indulgence, they rise. Heaven entrusts them with more because they have proven they can guard what they carry. They unlock clarity, authority, and a radiance that others cannot ignore. Their destiny, once hidden, becomes undeniable. This is the dividing line. For some, desire becomes a prison. For others, it becomes a key. The same fire that enslaves one soul empowers another. And the difference is not fate, not fortune, not favoritism. It is choice. Your choice. Chosen one, your sealed destiny is not a guarantee of ease, it is a guarantee of purpose. It is the reason the battle has always felt heavier for you than for those around you. You have carried since birth an energy too precious to be wasted, a mission too great to be ignored. That is why your temptations are stronger, your nights longer, your struggles deeper. The enemy does not wage war where there is nothing to lose. He has attacked you fiercely because he knows that if you rise, if you step into what was written for you, entire generations will shift. But here is the revelation you must hold close. Every time you resist, every time you choose clarity over indulgence, you are not just protecting yourself, you are accelerating your destiny. You are aligning with what has always been yours. The blessings that seemed delayed, the clarity that seemed distant, the authority that felt just out of reach, all of it begins to flow when you take command of your fire. And hear me well. Your failures have not erased your calling. Your scars have not cancelled your mission. The seal of heaven on your life is stronger than your weakest moment. What matters is not how many times you have fallen. What matters is that you rise now, that you choose now, that you step forward as the one who finally says, "Enough. I was not born for chains. I was born for crowns." This is your sealed destiny, to walk not as one enslaved by desire, but as one who commands it, to live not in endless cycles, but in divine progression, to embody the strength that comes from transmutation. the clarity that comes from discipline, the authority that comes from overcoming. And when you live this way, your very presence will become a testimony. Others will see you and know, without you saying a word, this one was chosen. So rise, chosen one. Walk with confidence into the destiny that has been waiting for you since before time began. The fire that once threatened to destroy you will now light your path. The struggle that once made you question your worth will now prove your strength, and the destiny that once felt distant will now unfold step by step, because you have chosen to align with the seal already placed upon your life.